Alright guys, now today we'll start triangles in this module. Now generally what students find this chapter very difficult, but it is in fact very easy. The main reason most of you will find it difficult is because you have forgotten or you don't apply the basics you have learnt in previous classes. So in this module, we'll just go through the basics that you need to remember from previous classes. For example, triangle. When you see a triangle, what do you think of? What property can you think of? There is one property. Any triangle that you see, sum of all angles is 180 degree. So angle sum property of a triangle is something you need to remember. That is, sum of all angles is 180 degrees. This is one of the things that you'll be using often when you solve triangles chapter. The second thing is isosceles triangle. What is isosceles triangle? Two sides are equal. But you also need to remember that if two sides are equal, two angles are also equal. So this is important. If two angles are equal, it means two sides are equal. If two sides are equal, it means two angles are equal. So you need to remember this property of isosceles triangle. It's not just about two sides, it is also about two angles. Then equilateral triangle, which means all three sides are equal and all three angles are equal. And what will be each angle? If you remember, this angle plus this angle plus this angle should give us 180 degree. So let's say this is x. So this also will be x, this also will be x in an equilateral triangle. So what happens? X plus x plus x, that is 3x, will be equal to 180 degree, which means x is 60 degree. So you need to remember the value of the angle for equilateral triangles. So in equilateral triangle, each angle is 60 degree. This is what you need to remember. This is about triangles. Alright. Now next thing, you need to remember about parallel lines. Whenever you see a parallel lines and a line intersecting the two lines, remember alternate angles are equal. This and this, only when they say the lines are parallel. Sometimes they may not say lines are parallel. They might just put this arrow marking. If they put marking like this, it means the lines are parallel. They don't have to say it. So in a parallel line, alternate angles are equal. Even this and this angle is also equal. Right, because they are alternate angles. Now another thing about parallel lines, corresponding angles. So if these two lines are parallel, remember corresponding angles are equal, which means this angle and this angle, they are corresponding angles, one above the other. This angle and this angle, they are corresponding angles. If there was one more line, this angle and this angle, corresponding angles. This angle and this angle, they are corresponding angles. So whenever you see parallel lines, remember about alternate angles and corresponding angles. So you should note this, alternate angles are equal, corresponding angles are equal. Now we'll go to the next kind of shape, that is parallelogram. Very important, you'll get a lot of questions based on parallelograms. You must already know about parallelograms. What are the properties? Opposite sides are parallel, right? Opposite sides are parallel. Opposite sides are equal. So this side equal to this side equal to this side. Second property you need to remember. Opposite angles are equal. Need to remember this. Opposite angles are equal. Also in parallel lines, one more thing you need to remember is, if you sum of interior angles on the same side, which means this angle and this angle is equal to 180. This angle plus this angle is 180. So in this, opposite angles are equal, whereas this angle plus this angle and this angle plus this angle is 180. This angle plus this angle and this angle plus this angle is 180. Now another thing about parallel lines, they have not told you it is parallel, but if they tell you this angle is equal to this angle, alternate angles are equal, which means you can say the lines are parallel. Anything you tell is equal, or anything in geometry that you tell it's parallel or equal, either it should be given or you should give a valid reason. You should give a proper reason. Otherwise, you are wrong if you are not able to give a proper reason. In geometry, no problem you can solve because it looks like that is not a answer. So unless and until you can give a reason for something you are saying, you are wrong. Alright. Now parallel lines, these properties, and last property you need to remember is diagonals bisect each other, which means this side will be equal to this side and this side will be equal to this side. So these are the properties you need to remember for parallelograms. Now some special parallelograms. Square. Square is a parallelogram. What are the properties of a square? Opposite side, all sides are equal. All opposite sides are parallel because it's a all properties of parallelogram apply to square. But the difference is one of the special characters is all sides are equal plus all angles are 90 degree. So this you have to remember. Rectangle, again a special kind of parallelogram. Just like parallelogram, opposite sides are equal, opposite sides are parallel. But what you name again extra thing is all angles are 90 degrees. Also in square and rectangle, remember bisector diagonals are equal. Not only do they bisect each other, but they are equal to each other. So here also diagonals will bisect each other and they are equal to each other. And the last kind of special parallelogram, rhombus. If you remember, what is a rhombus? It is a parallelogram in which all sides are equal. So a square is also a rhombus, remember. But all rhombus are not squares. When does a rhombus become a square? When angles are 90 degrees. Otherwise, it's not necessary for a rhombus to have 90-degree angle, but all four sides will be equal. It has all the properties of a parallelogram. Then one more special thing about a rhombus is diagonals bisect each other and they bisect each other at 90 degrees. Remember that. In these parallelograms, they are not bisecting each other at 90 degrees. If they bisect each other at 90 degrees, it means it is a rhombus. Alright. So these are some of the basic things you need to remember before solving triangles. For example, you know, if they tell you lines are parallel, alternate angles are equal, corresponding angles are equal. If alternate angles are equal or corresponding angles are equal, you can tell the lines are parallel. Similarly, for parallelogram, you need to use any of these properties to solve problems. So if you remember these things, guys, it is going to be very easy to solve triangles. Alright. So in the next module, we will start the first topic from triangles, that is basic proportionality theorem, or commonly called BPT.